What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Your boy Tamaine here, bringing y'all back another installation video for the 2014 Mustang 5.0. In today's video, as you guys can see, we're going to be installing the Boss 302 along with some E85 injectors onto my 2014 Mustang 5.0. If you guys don't know, I previously totaled my 2014 Mustang 5.0 track pack. After that, I ended up picking up another 2014 Mustang 5.0 premium, and they are both blue, coincidentally. I took my Boss 302, my E85 injectors out of my previous Mustang, and now I'm going to want to throw them onto my other Mustang. We're going to show y'all how to do that fast as fuck. Let's get it. Before I forget, you will need a tune when you're throwing your Boss 302 manifold. I'm getting tuned by Lund, and to make sure this process flows as smooth as possible, make sure you order your tune first, so then you have the tune ready and you can throw on your Boss 302 or whatever intake manifold you're throwing on. You could order your tune after, but then you might just have to wait a little bit longer. Make sure you keep time in mind because the tuning companies, they will close, so you email it back and forth depending on when you want your car back running. Make sure you get up nice up and early so then you can message these guys back and forth and get your car tuned in maybe 1 or 2 days. It may take a couple of days, but I remember that first time I ran into that problem. I had to wait at least 3 days because I installed my Boss 302 kind of late. I did this process at least 4 to 5 times. Like American Muscle, I would give this install a good 1 out of 3 wrenches for me because this is easy as hell. If it's gonna be your first time, I'll probably give it a 1.5 or 2 out of 3 wrenches because I'm gonna show y'all how to do this really easy. I have here listed all the tools that you're gonna need for the Boss 302 installation coming out of this simple toolbox kit, or these tools you might just have laying around the house. A 13mm socket you will need for sure for the strut tower brace, and then you have a 3/8 ratchet extension right here for the 3/8 ratchet. You may need a 10mm for the air intake box. You may or may not need this. You're going to for sure need an 8mm socket for the 1/4" ratchet, a 10mm socket for the 1/4" ratchet, an extension for the 1/4" ratchet, your 1/4" ratchet. You're also going to need this star tool right here. This is, it's like an Allen wrench almost, but it's just there. I don't know the size. The size of this is 2.5. It depends on the air intake that you have on your car. Some of them may take a star tool about this small. A screwdriver just in case. Who doesn't have a screwdriver lying around? You're gonna need a set of pliers also, or 2 set of pliers or 2. Right here we have our fuel line hose. Guys, if you don't want to install that $200 fuel line kit that is supposed to come with the Boss 302, you can get this hose. I'll put the link in the description. It's $12 from LMR, or you can go to your local auto parts store and get some 3/8 fuel line hose, and it's going to come with 2 clamps right here so you can clamp it down. This is called a Purge Valve Relocation Kit right here. If you guys are intimidated about installing the Boss 302, I'm doing this in the goddamn parking lot. What I almost forgot, y'all, you're gonna need an 8mm to disconnect the negative terminal of the battery first. We're gonna take our 3/8 ratchet with a 13mm socket. We're gonna take off our strut tower brace. 4 nuts holding on the strut tower brace. You're gonna wanna wrench those off. To note, the strut tower brace, the stock one, will not fit over the Boss 302. 2 nuts off, y'all. Now we're gonna take these 2 nuts off of the strut tower brace. Okay, y'all, now all 4 nuts off. We can take our strut tower brace off. Then now with the strut tower brace off, we can lift up on the intake cover right here. Take the intake cover off as well. Next, y'all, we're gonna use our 1/4" ratchet and an 8mm socket to take off these 2 clamps off the air intake, and then we'll go on to the mass airflow sensor. Okay, now as you guys can see, we disconnected our air intake from the intake manifold. You're gonna have this hose right here. You're gonna disconnect that hose too. For our mass airflow sensor, there is a pin under here that you guys are just gonna click back. You take your finger, click it back just like that, and this is gonna pop out. If it doesn't pop out, you don't have it all the way out, like so. Bam, there it is. Boom, boom. After disconnecting the air intake, you have to also disconnect this tube that's attached to the air intake, and I use my pliers to get under here. Let's see, yeah, that clamp right there. Use some pliers to squeeze that. Slides right up on out. Now we got our air intake tube out. Remember though, guys, you will need to get your mass airflow sensor off of here by that star tool or that Allen wrench or whatever that's holding your mass airflow sensor on here by these 2. You're gonna reuse that and put it onto your new air intake. Now that we have the air intake removed, we're gonna go ahead and move over onto the throttle body. You have a throttle body sensor right here. Just how you unplug that mass airflow sensor, you're gonna hit this red, get that red tab right there, guys. You're gonna slide it up on out to get the throttle body sensor off. Bam, just like that. Throttle body sensor should slide right up on off of there. Oh yeah, this sensor was on there. I just got it off. I just had to pry it off with the handy dandy screwdriver. Next, we have 4 bolts holding on the throttle body. One up top right there, one up top right there, one on the bottom right there, and then one on the side right there. You're gonna take your 8mm socket, take these bolts off. Now that I'm down to the last bolt off the throttle body, boom, now we can take our throttle body off, and now we are able to now get to the intake manifold. Now that the throttle body is off, we're going to disconnect a few more hoses here. I'm going to start by this one first. There's a little tab on this hose right here. I have a JLT oil catch can that I'm going to throw right here. But that tab, you're just going to slide up on off right there. It's really simple, really easy. These things rotate, so you can rotate them off. This tab right here for the purge valve, you are going to want to release as well. Push down on here, push down, and it's going to pull out. This car is okay, cool. That pulled out, and then you're gonna have 2 bolts right here that you're gonna want to take off of the intake manifold, and we're gonna move on up to here. So I'm gonna take these 2 bolts off next. Okay, guys, I'm down to the last bolt right here. We're going to need to remove one more thing off of this purge valve here, and you guys are gonna need 2 pliers. But since we are getting down to the bolts, I like to put them in order so I can remember. If you need something else to help you, write down the name under them so you won't get confused. Be as organized as possible, as like I am, because you guys can really do this goddamn install. So 2 bolts off. Now we're gonna take this valve out. Take the valve out because we're gonna be reusing this. This is gonna be where the purge valve line is gonna go, but we're not gonna worry about this by now. We're just gonna take that out. Now we gotta move over here to these 2 clamps, and this is where 2 pliers come in place, because you're gonna have to put 1 plier on this clamp and 1 plier on that clamp to get both of them out to get this tube off. Of course, I get it off, and then literally when I turn the camera off, I got these 2 clamps out. Now you just need to pull this hose up and out, and it might be a little bit hard to pull it out because it's going to be stuck on there. Since I got those 2 clamps off of this hose, you're going to want to pull out, but it's not cooperating with me right now. So in order for me to get some more slack to pull this hose out, I'm going to start removing these hoses up here that's on top of the fuel rail, and you're going to take your 1/4" ratchet with your extension and take 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts off. You're simply going to slide this off just like this to access this bracket right here. And these are pretty loose and easy to get off. And remove our bracket. You got your left bracket right here. That left bracket is going to come off. Remove the bracket on the right side also. It literally has L and R for right and left. So we couldn't get this hose off, but now that we got the bracket off, and I got a little bit of slack, gonna take this bracket off of here. Hopefully I can just pull this. It should slide up on out of this intake. And you don't want to break it, but so before I keep trying to put all my strength into it, you might want to just give it a little bit of pry underneath here to get it up on out. You gotta do screwdriver, the handy dandy screwdriver gonna come in action. Oh shit, I almost broke my goddamn leg. There we go. I think I got it now. You gotta pull real hard on it and then it'll come off. Damn snake. Oh shit, there we go. Next we're gonna remove these foam panels. Take the right one off. And you're gonna take the left one off. Be careful not to hurt yourself, because I hurt myself. Get this shit out of here. Now, these bolts are 10 mils. You're gonna have 4 bolts right here. That bolt that I just put in there, that's 10 mil. You're gonna take that 10mm bolt off right there. Boom. You're gonna go over. There's 4 of them. There's 4 of them. Take those off with the 10 mil to get your fuel rail off. Once you do take all 4 of these bolts off, guys, they're really long. They're gonna be one of the longest bolts that are gonna be coming off of your fuel rails. After taking those 4 long bolts off of your fuel rail, you're gonna now disconnect your fuel rail line which is right here. And by this blue tab, you're just gonna pinch. You're gonna pinch that blue tab. It'll pop a little bit. You didn't hear it. You may not hear it, but pinched it. Now that popped out. Now that popped out, this is where you bring a towel or a lot of paper towels. Put them right under your fuel line right here, because you're gonna have fuel come out of here. All right, yep, there we are. Once you do disconnect it, you want to lift the fuel line up, so then all that fuel don't spill out. Now that we got the fuel line hose off, now guys, we're gonna go ahead and disconnect our fuel injectors. Simply, you're gonna take your hand and push your tab in to disconnect the harness. Disconnect the harness just like that. Disconnecting all 8 of these harnesses. All right, y'all, next we're gonna lift up on the fuel rail. I lifted up on this side. I got this side out already. Now I'm gonna lift up on this side to get that out. And now your fuel rail is ready to come out along with your fuel injectors. Boom, fuel rail is out. Next, the last step to take the intake manifold off, the stock intake manifold. Y'all, we are gonna have 6 bolts right there. One, remove this, there's 1, there's 2, you see right inside there, and then there's 3, right on all the way back there. Where can I see it? Can I show y'all? There's 3 right there. 3 on that side, and then you got the same over here, so 6 in total. Take those 6 bolts off. All right, y'all, so those 6 bolts, they actually will not come out of your intake manifold. They are gonna get loosened up just like this. They're not gonna come all the way out. They're gonna be stuck to your intake manifold. After you get those 6 bolts loose, take your intake manifold. You're gonna lift up on your intake manifold, and as you can see, we're about to bring this bad boy up on out of here. It is completely off of the heads. Back here, you're gonna have this thing connected to the intake manifold. That one right there, as you can see, that right there. So I'm about to take some scissors and just cut that zip line right there. That zip tie right there, and we'll be free to go to cut it. Yep, it did. Okay, so in the back of the stock intake manifold, you got about 4 tabs that you can either cut off or you can pull them off. I cut them off and I pulled them off. The stock intake manifold out. This thing is real dusty. All right, I'm gonna just clean around in here a little bit, get all this dirt and stuff up on out of here, and then this gasket from the stock intake manifold, make sure that you take that off if y'all have a gasket left over. I'm gonna clean this stuff, and we're gonna go ahead and throw on our Lu47lb injectors onto the fuel rails. You're gonna literally reverse the process, as simple as that. All right, y'all, back to it. To be honest with y'all, I barely cleaned the inside of that because I really have nothing to clean it with. Make sure the heads that you're gonna lay your Boss 302 on is clean. Make sure nothing gets inside of there. Right about there. Perfect. There we go. There we go. Make sure your harnesses are out of place. Woo. Now, I'm simply gonna tighten the bolts that are on the Boss 302. I don't have a torque wrench. It is recommended to torque these down. However, you really don't need to torque these bolts down, but you do wanna go in a pattern to tighten them down evenly. You don't wanna tighten all 3 sides down at once. I will go from one side to the other side, to the other side, and crisscross and go back. And then when you tighten it down, you're gonna give it a hand torque. Now it's time for me to take my Lu47lb injectors and install them into my fuel rails. If you guys are not installing injectors, you might wanna skip this part and skip further ahead to the video to continue the install of the Boss. You're gonna take these clips right here, all 8 clips. You're gonna pinch them out. Simply, this clip right here pinches out. Freaking screwdriver at with one side. There we go. You never know, you might need a screwdriver to help some out. Just pry this clip off right here. The clip comes out, and when you take the fuel injector off, make sure you take it off somewhere where you won't get fuel all over the place and start a fire or cause any harm to whatever. After we get our stock fuel injectors off, make sure the O-ring comes with the fuel injector. And then basically that's it. You're gonna take the stock ones out, and then I'm gonna take them all out first. And then when you go ahead and put in your Lu47lb fuel injectors, then it's literally gonna be plug and play. Push them in, and then put the clip back in. Clip this back in, time to put these fuel injectors in. The fuel rail is gonna go under the Boss 302. Under. Once you get it to go under and out of this way of this damn line. That's weird. Just gotta go all the way under. There we go, just like that. I got my 4 long bolts. Throw about 4 long bolts back in there. Connect your fuel line over here. Connect it back. After tightening down the fuel rail, you guys want to go ahead and plug back in your harnesses. After all the harnesses are back connected, you're gonna want to throw on your foam panels again. I almost forgot to throw this hose back on top of the bracket. Back here, let's go under, just like that. And now we can throw the nuts back on there. This hose right here would connect back to the Boss 302, but since I got a JLT oil catch can, these things are pretty cheap. Get one so you don't have any oil bypass or blibo going back into your intake manifold. This simply, the oil comes from your engine, and instead of going back into your intake manifold, it's gonna catch right into the catch can right at the bottom. So then you could change it out every thousands of miles. I don't know however long y'all gonna change. Throw our throttle body back onto our intake manifold. This is the purge valve relocation installation process right here. Really simple. One end is gonna go right here on the top of the Boss, and the other end is gonna go in that purge valve right there by that blue O-ring. The purge valve is gonna sit right under the throttle body. Like I mentioned, your mass airflow sensor off your previous air intake is going to transfer on over to your new air intake. All right, y'all, as you can see, I connected everything back together, put my mass airflow sensor back into the JLT Series 1 cold air intake. I connected the tubes back into the correct spots where they're supposed to go. Essentially, that is gonna be it. You just put it back together. For the purge valve, your purge valve will be hanging loose. As you guys can see, the purge valve is right down there. It's gonna be hanging loose, as you guys can see in here. You want to go ahead and zip tie that to your fuel rail or somewhere where it's pretty tight and not going to move all around in your engine bay. Before I forget to tell y'all, make sure y'all throw y'all strut tower bolts back into your strut tower right here. I got to tighten those down. The thing is back connected. Now I got my tune from Lund. We're going to go inside the car here. I already loaded up my tune on my N-gauge. So I have E85 tune, I have a flex tune, and then I have a Lu47lb Injector. Oops, sorry. Pump gas tune, and I'm gonna load the pump gas tune. We up, we running. Sounds good. We're just gonna let the car idle for a good minute. As simple as that, we are finished with the Boss 302 installation along with my Lu47lb fuel injectors and installing the JLT Series 1 cold air intake. The Boss 302 will allow your car to rev up to damn near 8,000 RPM, and especially if you get it ported, it's going to be much easier from that route, allowing a little bit more extra horsepower on the ported side. Any links to anything that you guys need will be down in the description below. Make sure you guys get a tune when you go ahead and install your Boss 302. Other than that, we have some big plans for this car that I will explain in other videos. If y'all have any recommendations, any questions, let me know. Let everybody else know down in the comment section. If you are not tuned into the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you give this like on the video if it really helps you out. Even one bit of information, anything, smash a like button. Not asking for a lot, but your boy is out here trying to get back on track, and we are out here making videos. So make sure you tune into the next video. We gone.